Hey everyone, welcome to Vlogmas Day 11. I'm Sal, and holding that light over there
Hi everybody.
is Christy. Today we're gonna go back in time to a video that we had filmed a few weeks ago, but we just haven't had a chance to put it out. Christy enjoys the way my steaks come out, and I enjoy making steaks. So that's what this video is gonna be, just how to make a steak recipe. Hope you enjoy the video. Let's get to it. This week's steak is some beef tenderloin. And I am going to cook it in a cast iron and finish baking it. Got some USDA choice beef.
Boy, that
I'm
smells
gonna,
good.
yeah, it does. So this goes really good with steak. I'm just gonna make some rosemary, but I'm gonna do a little something different than I did last week. Here we go. So let's take this rosemary.
Smells so good.
That smells real good. We're gonna take this inside, I'm gonna rinse it off and show you what we're gonna do with it today. So, like anything else in life, the end result is based on how much you prepare. So, what I'm starting off with is some butter. I've let it come to room temperature. Taken some fresh garlic and I've minced it, so I'll add that to my butter. Now my fresh rosemary that I got from Christy's Pots outside, I'm gonna go ahead and add that to the butter. Notice I'm kind of cutting that rosemary up off of the twig, I guess, or the sprig, whatever you'd call it. So I'm just mixing that in with the butter and the garlic. And so this is actually going to be a topping for my steak when I'm done cooking it. I'm gonna, as I rest it after I cook it, I'm gonna set this butter on top of the steak, so that way it can kind of give it some more flavor. I hope you enjoy the sounds of my dog in the background.
Josie gets very upset when we start cooking and she's not getting any.
Yeah.
She gets so mad. Because this guy, he gets mad at him now, but the thing is,
I don't give them anything.
he gives them some steak, so they know. They know.
So, garlic, butter, rosemary. Now I'm just gonna kind of like mix this in together. This butter probably could have sat out a little bit longer, which it's okay. I got plenty of time.
Can you microwave it?
I don't want to, because I don't need it to melt. I just need it to be soft, and I'm already getting it mixed together in here like this. I just want it soft enough to be able to get the butter and the rosemary good and mixed in. And so you see that's happening in here. Butter, the rosemary, the garlic, everything's getting nice and mixed in. Okay, now that I got everything mixed in together, I'm gonna just put my butter onto, you can use wax paper, or you can use, saran wrap like I have it here. You just wanna kind of roll it up best you can.
And why are you putting it in there?
Because I'm gonna refrigerate it, but I want it to just be a nice little cylinder. That way it's a little bit easier once I put it onto the steak. So just get that in there. Good. So from here, while I cook the steak, this is just gonna sit in the refrigerator. See how it's nice and malleable?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna put this right in the refrigerator, let it cool back down. Good. Now I have my pan smoking. That's a good thing. The rest of this rosemary and butter and garlic is gonna actually go in the pan with my steak. So it's time to prepare my steak now that my cast iron's good. Mind you, I've preheated my oven to 415. I have a cast iron skillet. I'm gonna sear my tenderloin on the sides, just like 2 minutes each side. And then throw it in the oven and finish off in the oven for about 6 minutes. Okay, so spicing it, pretty simple. It's beef, salt, pepper, that's all you need. So I prefer using kosher salt. Just gives it a really good salt flavor. I'm not really too worried about over salting this because it's such a thick piece of meat. Just enough to let the salt get in there. Like fine. Good. And of course, ground black pepper. I like pepper. What's in there? For tougher pieces of meat, you can let it sit with that kosher salt a little bit longer, and the kosher salt will actually help kind of tenderize the meat. But this is tenderloin, so like the name says, it's already tender. All right, so we got all that ready to go. I got my rosemary, I got my steak seasoned, I got my butter. Let's get it onto the cast iron. All right, so we're gonna start off with our butter. Getting it nice and covered in the cast iron. Get it good and melted. As the butter's in there, I'm just gonna throw in some rosemary. Get that cooking up. I got my garlic in there also. Get that cooking up. And I'm gonna throw my tenderloin in there. Nice and hot. Good. Just gonna set a timer for about 2 minutes because I'm not too good at timing. As my tenderloin cooks, I'm just going to use this as an opportunity to baste it with my butter and rosemary. So what happens is the rosemary and garlic melt into the butter. It gives a really good flavor. You want your cast iron to be nice and hot, so I actually had this heating up and I put it in the oven once it started smoking. So we got a good cook on here. Nice and cooked. I want to sear this on each side for about 2 minutes. You can kind of take a look if you want. So it's already getting a really good sear on that side. Leave a little bit longer. What you're looking for a good sear is you'll see a little bit of browning. So it'll be a nice, almost like caramel looking color to it. This is such a thick piece of meat that you don't necessarily want to try and cook it well done, because then you're just going to dry it out. So medium rare, medium's probably the way to go. Which is why we finish it off in the oven. Oh yeah, that's coming in nicely. That's going to come out real nice. Alright, so we've had it for about 2 minutes on this side, so we're going to flip it over. Yeah, and you see that nice sear that we have on the side there. Right there, that's what you're looking for, that nice sear color. And we'll run it for about 2 minutes on the other side. Now remember, I have the oven already preheated to 415. So, once I'm at the 2 minute mark on this side, still basting, try and get some of that flavor in the meat. I'm going to throw it in the oven for about 5 to 7 minutes. 5 minutes will give it to me medium rare. I think I'm going to go for 6 minutes to get a little bit closer to medium. Again, this isn't the kind of steak that you want to do well done. Okay, so I got about 30 seconds to go, but the sear is already looking really good on this side. So I think I'm okay if I throw it in to the oven a little early, about 20 seconds or so.
Get that sear.
In here, and on this side there. So that's looking really good. Looking really good right there. I'm gonna throw it in the oven. Let that go for about 6 minutes. In the meantime, I'll prep my mat. Okay, so I'm about halfway through the oven time. What I usually like to do is just flip the steak. I don't know, it just makes me feel like it's going to get a more even cook. Yeah, that way I kind of split the time that it's sitting on the cast iron. Alright, 6 minutes in the oven's done. Put this bad boy out. So, as good as that looks, we still don't get to eat it right away. Take that bad boy out there. That butter that we prepped earlier on, I put it on top of the steaks, and the steaks are now going to rest for 5 minutes. That's a very important part of making a steak, especially in a cast iron, is when you're done cooking the beef, you should remove it from the heat and allow it to rest for about 5 minutes. That usually gives the steak a chance to settle, all the juices to settle, and really just makes the whole experience a lot better. So we're allowing the butter to sit on top of that steak and kind of melt into it a little over the next 5 minutes. See that? So before you cut a steak, you always want to see which way the grain is going. So if I pull it apart, I can tell that the grain is going this way. So I'm going to want to cut in that direction. So I'm going to take a little bit of my butter there, cut into the steak. Oh yeah. And that right there with 6 minutes, that's about medium rare. So you see a little bit of cook, nice hot pink in there, a little still rare right in there. So it ended up at medium rare with about 6 minutes on 415. I'm happy with that. Happy with the way that looks.
Now it's the taste test.
Taste test, taste test, taste test. Take a little bit of my pre-made butter there. Take that right in. Very tender. It was just a big piece, but the rosemary and garlic with the butter on the meat, the salt, pepper, everything just pairs really, really well. I'm really happy with the way the steak came out. If I remember correctly, that steak was really good. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any recommendations on how we can improve this recipe, or maybe a different recipe that you'd like us to try, go ahead and let us know in the comments down below. Hope you're enjoying your Christmas season. Till then, we hope you enjoy your holiday season. Bye.
Bye.